Name of the lab, Heat Transfer Lab. Faculty in charge, Mrs. M.P. William X. Laboratory Assistant, Mr. D.S. Akwane. Laboratory investment, 5,76,911. Area of lab, 66 square meters. These are some experiments that we are going to perform today to make sure that how theoretical knowledge meets with the practical application.
Of the experiment is thermal conductivity of insulating powder. Aim of the experiment is to determine the thermal conductivity of insulating powder at different conditions. From this experiment, we can conclude that from the experimental finding, we can say that the insulating powder at various conditions gives the specific value of the thermal conductivity. This information is very curious for designing and optimizing the thermal conductivity systems in householding and industrial purposes.
The name of this experiment is thermal conductivity of metal rod. The aim of this experiment is to determine the thermal conductivity of metal rod, which in our case is the copper. With the help of experimental inputs and outputs and certain calculations, we determine the thermal conductivity of metal rod, and this experimental value is compared to the standard value of copper, that is 380 watt per meter Kelvin. This experiment helps us to determine the reliability and consistency of certain materials.
The name of experiment is forced convection apparatus. The aim for this experiment is to find the heat transfer coefficient for air in tube in forced convection heat transfer. And the conclusion for this experiment is that the heat transfer coefficient is greater in forced convection as compared to natural convection because of the external air supplied to the test surface.
This experiment is of natural convection apparatus. The aim of this experiment is to determine the surface heat transfer coefficient along the length of the heated tube under natural convection and to plot the local heat transfer coefficient. From this experiment, we conclude that the heat transfer coefficient is having maximum value at the beginning due to just starting of the building of layer, and it decreases in upward direction due to building of more layers.
Name of experiment is green fin in natural and the forced convection. The aim of this experiment is to determine the temperature distribution over pin fin under natural circulation and the forced circulation. The conclusion of this experiment is the fin efficiency of the natural convection is more than that of the forced convection, and the PHO, that is overall heat transfer coefficient in forced convection, is more than that of the natural convection.
Name of the experiment is emissivity of test plate. Aim of the experiment is to determine the value of emissivity of the test surface. Conclusion for the emissivity of test surface is that it plays a very crucial role to determine the value of thermal radiation emitted by the test surface. By experimentation and analysis, we can conclude the accurate value of the thermal emissivity of test plate.
This experiment is regarding to the thermal radiation. Aim of this experiment is to verify the Stefan-Boltzmann constant value by using the thermal radiation. All substances emit the radiation. When the radiation is incident on the body have the property to absorb, transmit, or reflect the radiation. And by performing this experiment, we can conclude that the black surface having emissivity 1 and the value of thermal radiation Stefan-Boltzmann constant is 5.667 into 10 raised to minus 3.
Name of apparatus is heat exchanger. Aim of experimenter is to determine the FTD, heat transfer coefficient, and effectiveness of the heat exchanger in parallel and counterflow arrangement. Conclusion: we find out the value of heat transfer coefficient and effectiveness of heat exchanger.
This is the critical flux apparatus. The aim of this experiment is to determine the critical flux of the nichrome wire, which is placed in this, and the surface of this nichrome wire is heated after the electricity is passing through this nichrome wire, and it burns out. After that, there is the temperature difference occurs between the surface of its surface of the wire and wire.